It's another episode of Sports Yak Podcast. Who types this stuff? Just run it, hit play, hear it, get it done with. I'm Jim Shorts. I'm an icon. The class of 2019 Indiana sports writer and sportscasters Hall of Famer Chuck Freebie and the other butt monkey. Who cares? Hit the subscribe button. I'd hate to miss a second of this junk. Sports Yak, the podcast. Now that's good. Now turn it off.
The Horror Movie Podcast is listener funded by fans like you at patreon.com. You can find out more at patreon.com/The Horrible Movie Podcast. You're listening to the Studio DNA Network, studiodna.media. We'll talk after you're done fading that out.
Long after the great interplanetary wars, the galaxy has gone dry. Water has become the only thing left of value. Evil Templars from the planet Mithra have gained control of this life-giving resource. Their power is now absolute, except for a few rebel pirates who survive by stealing ice from the great Templar fleets.
Well, welcome to the Horror Movie Podcast, and what you just heard is why you're tuning in here for horror movies. Thomas Fulks, tell us, why Ice Pirates? Why Ice Pirates?
Oh, Ice Pirates! It's the gem of my childhood. It's the movie that sort of dances the line between appropriate and inappropriate for an 8-9-year-old kid back in the early 80s.
So woof woof.
Yeah. So
producer Phil's here. Tom is in the house. My name is Jack, and thanks for tuning in to the Horrible Movie Podcast. We're talking Ice Pirates, 1983's beautiful Ice Pirates movie. We have Robert Urich. We have Angelica Huston. We have Ron Perlman and a cast of so many others. Mary Crosby, who is in a Stasis Pod. David in her live chat pointed that out too. She's
Bruce Valanche too. You can't forget Bruce Valanche.
Oh, and John Matizak. Matuzik.
Yeah, you got it.
Sorry, me and phonetics. Hooked on Phonics work for me. He is Sloth from the Goonies.
Right.
Okay.
Which is really cool. Sorry.
Another / pirate movie.
Yeah, it is true. A / pirate. That is true. He's very good.
Did this movie come out pretty close to that movie?
Goonies is after this.
Goonies is slightly after this.
After this. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there it is. So, you gotta love it. He's a NFL veteran. Also, we are here talking today, and we want to talk about Ice Pirates. When you first saw Ice Pirates,
right,
as a young child,
yes,
what were your thoughts? Good, bad? This is it.
I think it's a movie that I thought, this is amazing, because there was so much going on in it, right? There's it moves so quick, and it's swashbuckling, and it's space, and it's like this crazy
continuity mess.
It's a disaster.
It is a disaster. But at the time, you didn't think that way.
Well, no. I mean, there were things moving fast on the screen.
Yes.
And,
this is in that same realm that Kroll is.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy that directs this is the guy that co-wrote Kroll. This makes a lot of sense. When you watch this and you've seen Kroll, who Danae Hughes did Kroll on this show, very, I don't want to say similar, but some of the same stuff. There's some very Mad Max stuff that happens at one point in this movie. Yep. There is obviously a lot of ripped off Star Wars, a lot of ripped off Star Trek, a lot of ripped off Spaceballs along with that. But When did Spaceballs come out?
Spaceballs is way after this.
Yeah, so maybe Spaceballs ripped this off.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, this has got like some National Lampoon kind of
That's
humor
true.
in it.
I forgot about John Carradine. He's also in this as well.
Yeah. I mean, this is really
a very elderly John Carradine.
Right. Right. So I mean, it's a movie that's hard to categorize because if it weren't set in space, it could just be like a pirate movie. But because it's set in space, I don't know. I feel like whenever I watch this movie now, I think, what is this movie trying to be?
Yeah, it doesn't know what it is.
No.
And it rips off so many tropes of pirate movies, space movies, cowboy movies,
right?
Mos Eisley Cantina, so many things that it loses itself. And Robert Urich as in this role, in science fiction role, is like completely, and granted it's sci-fi, but it's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
Before we get going too far here, Tom, tell folks about what you have going on right now. You have an upcoming show that you're working on right now. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. A friend of mine and I, who's been on this show before, Ian Ross, started a show called the Anthology Forge. And basically we sit down and we're writing short stories every week and inviting people to sort of come along with us on this ride, write their own stories. And so it's about the writing process and, kind of figuring out how to wrangle inspiration and just talk about the things that writers go through. So be listening in for that.
Cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Before we get going here, let's do something we like to do around here. It's called Time for Some Deets. The details of the movie. The Ice Pirates. Not just Ice Pirates. The Ice Pirates. A tagline, a couple of them. See a totally spaced out adventure. And also, here's a good one. You have to be there to see it. No duh.
Yeah, my favorite tagline of all time.
No stinking duh. Directed by Stuart Raphael, who also again co-wrote. He co-wrote. What did I say? Kroll. He also a very great movie for us on here. He is the director and screenwriter of what, Phil? Mac and Me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He's an H&P legend.
He is an H&P legend. He also, oddly enough, was the screenwriter of Passenger 57, which I mentioned in the Ron Perlman actor spotlight. And that's really weird. I've not thought about that movie in years. I mentioned it today twice now. So good times. That's the guy right there, Stuart Raphael.
He's also did Mannequin 2. If that movie hasn't been on this show, then you need to get that one on there.
Yeah,
too.
if you've never seen Meshach Taylor in a movie, folks, you got to see Mannequin 2. Produced by John Foreman, written by Stuart and the gang, and a cast of many others. I said that about John Foreman. John Foreman did Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, did a bunch of other westerns as well. Maybe that's some of that western theme we talked about. Starring, man, what a group of people in this movie. We have our friend Robert Urich. Again, in the 80s, I would see him in TV shows. In the 90s, you'd see him in some TV shows. It became like him in the Lifetime movies and things like that. I don't know. His star was... I'm not sure why it was so high for some people, and then as he went along, he had fewer and fewer roles.
I mean, what was his most famous thing? Was it Spencer for Hire?
Probably so. Let's look up his. He had some charming good looks there, and a full head of hair, Phil. Looking good. Let's look at some of his career highlights here.
I mean, I looked through his filmography here, and I mean, Spencer for Hire jumps out. Gunsmoke, like a long time ago, maybe an episode here and there. But man, it's just, a
lot of TV shows. You ever seen Killdozer, the TV show? Well, he's in it. And then, not a lot of stuff.
Right?
Not a lot going on for our friend here. He was in the Vegas TV show. That's true. In the live chat there. He was in a little bit of Gunsmoke. He was in, I don't know. I guess it's his good looks. Maybe he knows karate. Mary Crosby, Princess Karina in this movie. Not a bad looking lady. I'm just gonna say this out loud. Pretty good looking lady, especially in this movie.
Yeah.
And she did a ton of stuff that you've seen. She was in Deep Space Nine, an episode.
She's in Dallas.
She's in Dallas, right? And then she's been in a bunch of movies as well. So, Final Jeopardy, Golden Gate. Michael D. Roberts plays Roscoe, the friend of Robert Urich.
Right.
Also, Angelica Huston. Again, she played on Addams Family. She's Morticia on the Addams Family. Mm-hmm. She is, in this movie, not a bad-looking lady. I'm just going to say this out loud. I'm not trying to be patronizing of anyone, but man, she's a good-looking lady.
She's pretty tough, too.
Oh, and she is tough. She will cut you, Phil.
She will cut you. Your head clean off.
Right off. It happened in this movie, too. And then Ron Perlman, aforementioned, he plays Zeno, the chef, logistics officer, whatever else you need, and very good.
Yeah.
John Carradine, say his name again, John Matuzak. Don't leave it up to me. Matuzak is what I said. Matuzak plays Killjoy in this one, and a cast of thousands as well. And Alan Caillou, and I just wanted to say his name because I wanted to say the name Caillou on here, like the horrible.
Can you sing the song for us?
I'm Caillou. Caillou. I'm Caillou. Caillou. It's like, I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. All right, so there you go. If you have children, you know what I'm singing about. Because if you've ever watched Caillou, oh my gosh, jump off the roof.
Don't jump off the roof. People.
No, guys, I don't want you to do that. I didn't mean that. I love you guys. What movie were we talking about again today? What movie is this?
Ice Pirates, brother.
Oh, yeah, Ice Pirates. Sorry, guys. I digressed a lot there.
He's going down the rabbit hole of Wikipedia
big
for
time.
too long.
Release date, March 16th, 1983. A short running time, 91 minutes. I was very glad.
Yeah.
Because I watched this movie and I was like, okay, good. All right, it's not going to be 2 hours.
Right.
And then...
You're spared that extra half hour.
$9 million budget and a box office of $14 million. So, man, making money. Let's make a sequel.
It needs to be remade.
Yeah, that's true. We could reboot it. Let's do this. Do you have time? Let's have time real quick. 30-second synopsis. Are you ready?
I'll do my best.
You can do it. Here we go. 30-second synopsis. Thomas Fulks, Ice Pirates, ready, go.
All right, so Jason and his band of brothers are out stealing water. Water has become the most precious commodity ever. They stumble upon a ship who's got the sleeping Princess Karina. Inexplicably, he wakes her up, and then they go on an adventure to basically try to find the seventh world where there's supposedly lots of water out there. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but eventually they do that. There's like time travel and all kinds of stuff, and it's a great adventure.
And they find water.
Yeah.
On Waterworld.
I was going to say, like, this should be like the prequel to Waterworld because they're both really bad.
Would be great. All right, when we come back, we'll talk more about the plot of Ice Pirates. Coming back. In a world where ice pirates are looking for ice, you asked Robert Urich to save the day, along with the guy that played Sloth and Ron Perlman. That's right, it's Ice Pirates. Coming to NBC this fall.
Yes.
Starring Ron Perlman as Ice Pirates. Thomas Fulks is here today.
Hello.
Thomas, welcome back.
Thank you.
Producer Phil is over here mixing, maxing, relaxing, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. Here he is. Phil. DJ Phil in the house.
Shiver me timbers and all those ice pirate.
Yeah. They have lasers, but they also all use swords.
What? What is this?
Makes no sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, okay, I understand what you're saying. Let me ask you a question. Do you find it weird that they use lightsabers in the Star Wars universe?
It's very chivalrous though, because they do have lasers. Why would they need them?
I don't find that strange.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because the Jedis can block bullets.
It's an ancient order.
Phasers with those, yeah.
So
those are basically swords.
Or blasters. What do they call them in Star Wars? Are they blasters?
Blasters.
Blasters. Why don't I said phasers? That's Star Wars.
That's Star Trek. Star Trek, yeah.
Sorry. I do know about Star Wars and Star Trek, guys.
I'm guessing the Ice Pirates is not as cool as Jedi.
No, this is way cooler. There are some bounty hunters in this.
There are.
And they're really stupid. Like, they're just like, roar!
Yeah.
Roar, bounty hunter with a Viking helmet on. Roar! Okay.
They're not subtle.
What's happening?
Yeah.
And they were like Mad Max ripoffs. So stupid.
Yep.
So this takes place in the far future? Is that...
You don't have any idea where this
no,
takes
gotcha.
place on a soundstage somewhere, and maybe a like really opulent, emptied movie theater.
Okay, I will say this: they make a reference in this movie where a guy gets hit in the head. By the way, he is only a severed head that is connected to a robot thing. Right, is how he can even move around. And he's like, "Oh, my head really hurts," because his head gets taken off from the robot. And then he goes, "Does anybody have any Tylenol?"
Oh my!
But here's the thing: is they've lost Earth. It's a lost planet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the seventh world. So obviously, I mean, I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but Tylenol is based on Earth, right? I mean, it's not like from a future time that went in some time loop that we don't understand.
Right.
And
I mean, that I could almost. I mean, this movie's so tongue in cheek. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that was an intentional thing, but there's a point which Jason, the main character, walks up to someone and says, "Look, I got this tape."
yes,
Right. And
Yes.
it's a clear piece. It looks like plexiglass, essentially, is what it looks like.
well, he walks up to Mary Crosby's character, and they're basically going to go to the holodeck on the ship.
Which is literally like
What's
a
it
rear
called?
projection.
Passion. It's like the tape is called. Oh crud! Why can't I wish I could have heard about it. I'm actually going to remember this part. The waves of passion or passion something horrible, and it's like, Phil is exactly what you're thinking it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stupid.
And it starts to rain on them inexplicably. It's
So this went over your head as a young guy?
yeah, well,
as a
yeah.
kid?
I was 9.
Okay. So you weren't getting some of these references then?
No.
Okay.
No. So it's a really weird movie that's got some. I mean, it's fun. It makes sense why like a 9-year-old would find it interesting because
Yeah.
it starts off. First joke in the whole movie is they bust onto a ship, and somehow where they've come in is the bathroom, and there's an alien sitting there.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And there's lots of toilet humor within this movie too, because there's one near the end as well. Whenever the robot oils the floor,
Yeah, it's true.
he not soils but oils
the floor.
the floor.
Yes. Jeez. All right. So this film, again, it's a distant future. Water is as you heard in the beginning of the show. That is straight from Ice Pirates, and water is scarce. It is as valuable, Phil, as anything in existence. Folks, Phil has not seen this movie. Thomas and I are going to teach.
Okay,
we're going to teach Phil.
I'm going to teach Phil. So
in ice pyrology.
You know, the best comparison I can make is that water in this movie is as valuable as dirt was in Waterworld.
I like it.
Oh, good comparison.
Ooh, that's very, very good.
That makes sense.
It's excellent, actually. And
Except
then,
on this planet, somehow they have freighters that are filled with giant cubes
yeah.
of ice.
Well, and as they find it, they freeze it, apparently. They find water, they freeze it, and then these rebel pirates, they travel around and steal the ice. That's why they're called Ice Pirates. They go to the Templars are the bad guys, and this is where I wanted to tie in here. You guys don't know this, but this is part of an expanded universe with National Treasure. The Knights Templar National Treasure. They eventually find all the National Treasures in the upcoming someday National Treasure 3. Then this movie, they take over the world. They destroy the world. They go out into space. Then they come back millions of years later. The Templars have taken over the galaxy. And then they are trying to keep people from finding the seventh world again.
This makes National Treasure a much better movie. That explanation.
Well, and that way you understand why this overarching thing, the Templars. So the Templars of Mithra, by the way.
Right.
They are the ones that are in charge of all the water. They're basically the Empire. They're basically the Empire from Star Wars. And they are they destroy worlds. They take all the water, and then they just move on to the next galaxy. They're kind of like Galactus, where they take all the natural resources, especially the H2O, and these pirates are after them.
Yeah. Was it strange to you that they look kind of like the clergy?
No. Well, then the Templar theme is to go back to Middle Ages of the Knights of the Round Table, and it's almost like the Templar and the Knights went to, and I'm not trying to get political or anything like this, but they went to the Middle East. They were able to gather gold, riches, at least according to National Treasure movies. And I'm joking, by the way, about the crossover. I'm starting to sound like I'm not.
You've bought in.
Like I bought into this fan theory. Maybe we could start that. But then they would go, and then they would take over the basically in the Middle East, basically convert or die with a sword, and that's what the Crusades were all about. So I'm assuming then in space, the Templar, the Templar have done the same thing. They go to each planet. They say, look, you either become part of our army, or I'm going to snap this gauntlet with my Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
This Infinity Gauntlet. That's a good name for it, actually.
It's the name for it.
Is that original?
I just made that up right now.
Yeah, it's a great job.
Tom Fulks, 2019.
And then you're either going to, bend the knee or face the wrath. Okay? And so they take all these things, and we're left with one brave soul, Robert Urich, along with his trusty Maida is her name, Angelica Huston, Ron Perlman, who's the chef / logistics officer, and his trusty sidekick Roscoe.
Well, they also, you're missing out on like the maid that wears sort of like a French maid outfit. Like
That's true.
The nanny.
Yeah,
that's on the ship.
But that's Mary Crosby's. That's Karina. Isn't that Karina's person?
It is. But I mean, like the fact that she's there.
Yeah, and in a French maid outfit.
That's a little weird.
But she's not. But she's older. It's not like a French maid, like some weird thing.
Yeah.
That,
you wouldn't be into it, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, maybe.
Man, I avoided that. Never mind. But they go to this ice. The Templars' main ship. They go on board to steal the ice. It's a big heist. It's a big heist theme.
It's an ice heist.
It's an ice heist. # ice heists. And they find the ice. They're getting it off the ship. They're better to get out of there. And then, darn it, if Robert Urich's character Jason doesn't run across Karina, the princess. She's in a hyperbaric chamber. And she's sleeping, much like Justin Bieber sleeps in. She is sleeping in this chamber. And he is just mesmerized by how beautiful she is.
Sure.
He's like, I'm just going to take her, and then I can hold her for ransom. So he does that. He pulls her out of the chamber, puts her over her shoulder. She fights him off a little bit. They end up getting caught before they can escape.
Right.
And then, if you get caught in this world, Phil, this is crazy, man. This is real life. That you get caught, you are sent back to the Empire's main base, and they repurpose you as a person. And I think that you are. You're turned into
a slave,
a eunuch, basically, too.
They've got these giant sort of.
Yeah, I want to tread lightly here on some of the words we're going to say. These chompers.
It's a chomper. That's the word I was going to use.
I'll let you do it. I'm interested to see you spin your way out of this to unwind this yarn ball.
All right. So you've seen sort of like you've seen Batman 66, right? Where like they've got Batman and he's on maybe a table and there's a laser beam that's going to slice him in half.
Right.
Well, imagine you're on sort of a conveyor belt, right? Where you're sort of running down the conveyor belt, and for some reason, they've got these women there that are going to shave you, okay, to make you presentable, right?
Okay,
and then they're gonna
your face.
Yeah, right.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
the chompers, folks. I'm just going to say this. So I'm just trying to avoid this.
You're moving down, feet first, towards down the factory line. As it is.
As it were. Okay.
But there are some chompers, right, to take care of things.
Okay.
Now, what dictates between what you get the chompers used on you or not the chompers used on you, though? I don't remember this.
Because I think they were selected.
They were selected. They got lucky.
She rescued them, which, I mean, giant plot point, like hole as far as like why she would do that. She's just been kidnapped by these people. Why wouldn't she just go ahead and...
Yeah, she should be mad.
She ought to be. I mean...
Yeah.
She was there sleeping right along, Sleeping Beauty style.
Yeah.
He comes in, wakes her up, she's got a little bed head. And then, immediately she saves him from the chompers. Did she see something in him in her sort of drunken haze? Is it sort of that Stockholm syndrome where she's like, oh, hello?
Yeah, and her life is probably pretty boring. At some point, though, they find out that Princess Karina's father went on an exploratory adventure to find this seventh world where it's got water galore. There's a guy there by the name of Kevin Costner, and he's there, and he's hanging out there. That last part's fake. Kevin Costner's not in this movie, but he is in Waterworld. So he goes away. He's not come back. You find out that these people think they have had him killed.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Empire basically has had him killed, but she's still the princess, but she doesn't know that they've actually turned on him. Basically,
it's basically Aquaman.
It kind of is Aquaman, and then they that's kind of weird. Then they go to she goes with Jason, Robert Urich's character, to find her father. Basically, then they're tasked to find her father.
And of course, they arrive, and it's the Mad Max planet. And of course,
they make a stop off to get more information. They stop at this planet that they tracked where her father was at. It basically is a Mad Max planet. You run into this older guy character, and that he knows that Jason knows.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out into the wilderness desert, basically. And he's like, what happened to you, Stretch, or whatever this guy's name is, Stretch, something or other. And he's like, what happened to you? He's like, I hit a time warp and I lost 20 years. So he aged in this time warp, which is actually kind of a cool
It's a neat concept.
That's actually a cool concept.
Yeah.
And so he came back and he's just old now. And so basically then the bounty hunters show up from earlier that I was talking about. And they're like, whoa, stop you. They're like the Tusken Raiders.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Tusken Raiders plus Mad Max.
Right.
They escape them. How do they escape? They have this solar car thing, by the way, that looks so stupid in the movie.
It looks like a drag
It looks like a
strip.
drag car with these two solar panels on it.
Yeah.
And
dually wheels in the back.
yeah, it's so dumb. It's like if they made any Ice Pirate merchandise for this movie and you made one of those, I'd be like, that's so stupid.
I want that car. I want to drive that car around.
I think you could make that car. I think
I have some
I think you could find a
cardboard.
color.
Just need some hard plastic.
Exactly. Well, I think you can find a solar panel kit and an old drag car, like the plexi, like the fiberglass body of a drag car, and you could find that, and you could make that car.
That'd be amazing. That could go in your.
The celebrity wing of the vehicles. Come on down. You know you love the Dukes of Hazzard.
There it
You're gonna
is.
love Uncle Jesse's truck.
We're pulling it up on the screen, guys.
Is it solar powered? Is that what I'm seeing at the top
Yeah, it's
there?
solar powered. You know you love Ice Pirates. Well, check it out. It's the Ice Pirate solar car. Anyway, it's so stupid.
It does look like what do you call that? Like when you make a car and like roll it down the hill when you're a kid.
Oh, like a soapbox
car.
derby.
Yeah,
Come down
Yeah.
to the Springfield Expo Fair and see all your favorite celebrity cars. You know the taxi from Godzilla 1998? Well, it's here too.
Yeah, it's a box car basically.
Jeez. You know the motorcycle thing from the movie Silver Bullet with Gary Busey? That's right. It's here too. Come on down. Admission's only $55.
So you're saying the vehicles aren't as cool as they are in Mad Max?
They're
then?
actually kind of cool.
Okay.
They actually are kind
I
of cool.
think your kind of was a stretch even.
Now the one with the giant skull on the front and the huge wheels.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
well, ish. I mean, if you like, did you like the cars in Flintstones the movie, Phil?
No.
Okay, that's the same thing. Basically,
All right.
it's like, yeah, no, you know what though, guys? I'm so sorry. Tom, if you like those, I'm so sorry that I don't ever want to make you feel like
Well,
you're not
Yeah.
not valued. I love them too. Actually, I've changed my mind. You won me over.
Like, this is the horrible movie podcast, but I'm telling you, the two movies that I've been on the show for were like really favorites of mine whenever I was a kid.
I
You know,
know.
I mean, like, there's a reason why.
Right.
You know?
Masters of the Universe was the other one, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's ridiculously stupid and good though at the same time.
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren as He-Man is bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys go back and listen to that one in the archive. Where else? Where are we at here? We're
I
on
actually really like doing these movies because you have nostalgia and you see scenes that you saw when you were a kid and you're just like, oh man, I loved that scene when I was a kid.
Right.
And he's looking at it with 2019 fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen this before. And watching it, just like, oh my gosh, this is unwatchable. And it doesn't. The movie clearly has not aged well over the decades.
Right.
Like,
No,
it's
is
so
like,
interesting to hear you guys talk. Differently about it.
To me, it's bad. Like this is just like straight up bad. I'll tell you one thing that's gonna be bad, and I'm excited to talk around this point. They're on the ship. They've been on the ship for a long time because they're trying to travel. They get back from the sand planet where the Jawas are the rulers, and then they get back on their satellite of love or whatever they're flying on, and then they find this closet. They open this closet, and something falls out of the closet. Well, there's this egg thing that falls out of the closet, and it starts to hatch at one point whenever Roscoe is asleep. And Roscoe is laying there. The egg hatches. This nasty worm-looking creature crawls out. It's got these little teeth. It's not very big. It's like the size of like I don't know.
Like imagine what you think the Sarlacc would look like, except the size of a large sausage.
Yes.
Okay.
And it scoots and slimes across the floor. It crawls up around, and it looks so bad, Phil. Like this thing looks so ridiculous. It crawls up onto Roscoe's back, and apparently it bites him, right?
Right.
And then Robert Urich's character looks in the closet, and there's a manifesto of things on board. One of them is this egg. And what it contains is this creature, and I'm trying to think of how to say this. I guess I'll say it. Should I just say it?
It's a space herpy.
It says, and here's what I'm saying. It says it's the byproduct. If you get bit by this, you get those. And at that point in the movie, yeah, there it is. So gross. Man, Phil's got this picture of this thing. Hey, how are you? Like so stupid.
It looks like a Mario villain, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, it bites that thing right there. Bites Roscoe. And then the whole movie is like this inside joke of them saying that phrase over and over again. And then you're like, what did they have to do with anything? And it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
No.
It just is on the ship.
It's a completely pointless subplot.
As a joke. But this movie, like you said, it doesn't know what to be. Is it a comedy? Is it actually a sci-fi adventure movie? Richard Serrett is a regular guest host on Coast to Coast AM, the most listened to late night radio program in the world. And now you can hear Richard on his own podcast, Conspiracy Unlimited, 3 days a week. You're going to get political intrigue, subterfuge, conspiracies, the paranormal, UFOs, alternative energy, Bigfoot, and much, much more. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Conspiracy Unlimited, following the truth wherever it leads. Listen and subscribe at conspiracyunlimitedpodcast.com.
Is it literally
is it a pirate movie?
Swashbuckling, time traveling? What is this?
It's weird. It's very weird. It is no Guardians of the Galaxy, which is probably the closest thing to compare it to.
Yeah,
honestly.
Another movie that I want to come on the show for is a movie called My Science Project. I don't know if you guys have done that one.
No.
But there's elements of that with this in terms of the time travel stuff that goes into like some of this ridiculousness as well. So,
I'm just saying these two things are not too far off.
Now that is true. That is true.
It looks like a Mario
piranha plant from Mario, and this thing looked very similar. So I'll let you guys Google it. Just hit back about 30 seconds, 3 or 4 times, and you'll get to the phrase. I don't know what to do with that phrase because it really grosses me out.
It's not like a cuss word or anything.
I guess not, but I don't know. I'm not sure our audience sometimes of the age, and so some people are like, I don't want to hear that word over and over again. So we've said it, and it's a space herpy. I'm moving forward now.
He's on the record.
I'm moving forward. We're moving on.
Past it.
So they're trying to locate the lost planet. They end up going through like some warp zone field, right?
Right. And in the midst of that is an epic sort of sword battle that goes on. In a hallway and in sort of like their holding area where the ice is being kept.
The Empire people basically they blow up into their ship, right?
Yeah.
They basically come aboard.
Mm-hmm.
You have this sword fight The robots. Oh, we haven't talked about the robots at all in this movie.
Right. The robots are completely pointless, useless.
Roscoe makes these robots basically, and they are like the what's the droids, the battle droids on the Phantom Menace.
Oh,
and
yeah.
on Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically like useless. Like they're just like just tear them up, blow them up. Roger. And so he makes these robots. The robots fight too, and he's able to kind of get them to battle for him in some instances. But this sword battle is pretty stupid at times.
Yeah, it's epically bad. And the funny thing is that as they're going through this time warp thing, like they're aging rapidly. And so you'll see their beards grow, and then they'll like take a break for a minute and go back and interact with other people, and you're seeing them grow and growing old. At one point, Jason goes back to Princess Karina, and he realizes that she's pregnant and now has a baby after like 30 seconds.
Like this is like in a matter of like 3 or 4 minutes.
Right.
Like this whole sequence. And then they finally come out at the end of the wormhole or whatever it is, and they end up on the other side of our solar system apparently, because then they're like, "Oh, we made it. Oh, we're fine. Oh, so glad." And they're huggy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is she a mother now?
No.
Okay.
Can we spoil it?
Yeah, spoil it right now.
All
Yes,
right. I mean, this movie's only been out for like 40 years. I mean, essentially, like I have to mention quickly that like Roscoe's afro is impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive.
It is impressive. It is like 1970s Michael Jackson
It
impressive.
is solid, yeah.
But they come back and they were actually rescued by Karina and Jason's son.
Oh wow.
In the whole like sword battle and whatnot. And so whenever they get to our solar system, they are brought back to their normal ages of whenever the whole movie started. And now that I guess they're going to stay together because
they know they have a son.
They know they have like she's pregnant.
I gotta admit that's kind of cool. Like
it's a surprisingly good concept.
Yeah, is it executed well though? Like is it
No.
confusing? Okay.
No, it's poorly executed, but it's super fun to watch if you like have no expectations of this being anything other than just a fun romp that does not take itself seriously at all. But I mean, I will sort of swing back to something Jack said earlier. This movie is almost unwatchable.
Because of what it does, like it doesn't know what it is, and I think it takes itself seriously for a second.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, here's a joke. Here's an alien on the toilet. Who's gonna get him? We don't want him to know who's here. That we're here on the ship. I'll get him. Oh, you get him. You get him. The whole row of people.
Yeah,
and then it's like Ron Perlman's character's like, you get him, and he's the last one there. Well, and so then he reaches over and like bonks the thing on the head, like so like weird.
It's a very strange movie that doesn't know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, like
silly.
the production value on the movie, they obviously had a little bit of a budget. I mean, $9 million back in '83 was a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
So the expectation was pretty high.
Yeah. And I mean, like some of the costumes are really, really good, very well executed. The makeup is done fairly well in most cases. The vehicles couldn't have been inexpensive to make, but then they come to like a Mos Eisley cantina thing, and you're obviously on a soundstage with like steam and lights, you know what I mean? Like gel lights in the background. And you're like, how did this happen?
Right.
Poorly conceived is how it happened. Ironically, like we talked about Kroll and Ice Pirates kind of have a similar creator.
Pedigree.
Yeah. And they came out the same year, basically.
What
like
did?
Kroll and Ice Pirates.
Oh, really?
Same writer. Same kind of trope at times. It's the space kind of, I don't know, junk. Like, I don't know. Like a bad version of what Firefly really was. Like the concept of Firefly, like where it's like he's a cowboy in space. It's like a space western, except this is like a space pirate movie.
Right.
I don't know.
So there's a good chance that the Ice Pirates was still in theaters when Return of the Jedi came into theaters. because it was released in March, and then Return of the Jedi came out 2 months later.
And back then, the movie stayed in theater a lot longer.
Yeah.
Right.
So people were probably going to go see Return of the Jedi and not this one.
But then then once Return of the Jedi came out and then Krull came out in theaters, they knew that nothing could stop Krull.
What's crazy is Krull was probably still in theaters when Return of the Jedi was in theaters because it came out in July.
So weird.
Oh, the choices people had back then.
Exactly. So weird. This whole thing is weird. Movie does drop an N-bomb in it.
Oh, really?
Does it?
Yeah, there's one N-bomb. They go to the when they're trying to find someone to take them into the desert to find the slim guy or Stretch, whatever his name is. And there's a couple of the thugs in the cantina, and the fake, it basically is Mos Eisley. Yeah, that exactly. So weird. And then the other guy corrects him. It's just weird. Anyway, I'm not really going to go into it, but I thought that was pretty weird. Of course, 1983, there were other movies around that time that still used that kind of verbiage.
I mean, I don't think it was okay even back then, but it was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. But they used that wordage, and I think that it's just weird that that's in a vernacular, like in a movie like this. There's no point. Like there literally was no point.
Wasn't there a point too whenever Roscoe's character makes another robot and it's black, and he's like, "Why is it black?" And he's like, "Because I wanted it to be awesome or something like that." And the robot's
like, "Yeah," which I kind of did like that. I kind of thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, Ice Pirates. Let's talk. Anyway, they make it to the planet. They come along the bottom of the moon, which we know is our moon, and they come there. And there it is. It's Earth. And then the movie's over.
Yeah.
And they made it. They don't show Earth. They could have easily filmed on Earth.
They could have.
Because we're here. They're on Earth. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but this isn't a real found footage movie. They really were just on Earth filming this movie.
Yeah.
And they could have shown Earth.
So this is like the Holy Land for them. Like since the Earth is like, 70% water or whatever.
This is Waterworld. Whenever they find land on Waterworld.
Yeah.
This is like.
I mean, that last scene where they're all sort of looking at the screen of looking at Earth, it's like they've been literally in the desert and they're seeing like a glass of water all together. Like they have these huge stupid smiles on their face. Ron Perlman's is my favorite, actually.
Yeah.
If we could see that scene where they're just looking at it and kind of like how happy he is. It's crazy.
Well, because they've never seen that much water.
He's elated though. I mean, it's a sight to behold.
It's crazy. This movie's insane. Okay, well, let's talk about goods and bads. What are the goods of this movie, Tom?
Like I said, I think that I actually think that the costume design and the makeup is really kind of decent in this movie. I mean, there's some effects that went into it that I think are kind of fun. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't. It has a very nostalgic feel to me. Like this is. How did you ever watch Buck Rogers?
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, or Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon, yeah,
Flash
Gordon.
Like that. It has a similar feel to it.
It has that feel to it. And
yeah,
so like
Barbarella. Have you ever seen Barbarella?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's not. It's cheesy, but it is very. I don't know. I feel like that part was well made. It's a neat concept.
Yes.
I think that they had a lot of like that's a movie where I think that the whole team was sitting around in a room and be like, well, who all's got ideas for this? Mm-hmm. And they took every single idea, including the ones from the guy like taking out the trash, and they're like, let's throw it in there. So I think like it's a movie that honestly could be reworked a little bit and launched again as a kind of a movie that knew what it was supposed to be.
I'll have a question at the end for you on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
But not yet. Goods for me. Obviously, it's sci-fi. I love sci-fi, but it's not very good sci-fi.
No.
So it's like, hey guys, all you can eat pizza, and you're like, well, where's it from? And you're like, and I don't want to say the name of the place, but there's a certain place that I'm like, it's the worst pizza I can imagine, and they're like, oh, it's from that place. And I'm like, oh, great. So then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Like it's one of my favorite genres. Might be my favorite genre technically. Other than animated movies with animated characters and real people in them about basketball. Basically Space Jam. That's the only genre that's my favorite. There's only one movie in that though.
Right.
So really,
it's the best. If there were an Oscar that year for best animated space basketball movie,
yes, that's it. That's my favorite genre. We need more movies like that.
I think we need to add that. We should make a suggestion, Phil, to the Academy.
Yes. Yeah, I've had no one apply for this in over 20 years, but if someone does, they're winning. Anyway, there you go. So I think that it was pretty craptastic. Tell us the bads. Go.
I mean, the whole thing's kind of bad. Like it's a movie that, like, after having not seen it for several years, I was like, again, it's a hard watch. It's a hard watch. Even at 91 minutes, like, you're into it for at least a half an hour before you're like, who are all these people again? What's going on? Set design, awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
bad.
just, oh my goodness.
I've seen some pictures of the costumes and stuff like that, and they look really bad too. And you think, like, okay, well, it was the 80s, but then again, we've talked about Star Wars and stuff like that, and you're just like, I don't know, like, Darth Vader is, like, timeless. Like, his costume is awesome, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of it that's really bad. I mean, the plot, the storyline is, I mean, just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just stupid.
I don't know how else to put that. Like, it's a movie that, again, like, you spend so much time fighting to figure out what it is that you get lost in it a little bit.
It's beyond bad.
So yeah, it is beyond bad.
It is a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. 9%. Pretty stupid overall. That rating on here is pretty stupid. I'm just joking. That's a made up rating that I made. Gosh.
But I mean, like, if you look at a 9% movie that made $5 million off of its budget, that's not terrible. Look at that face. Look at that face.
I know, man. That's right. Yeah, there it is. We're looking at the still footage of
Ron Perlman's, like, cheesy grin.
Dude, he's so excited about this. Like, guys,
he loves water.
You know, the director.
You have never seen a guy happier than Ron Perlman in that moment.
Look at this picture, folks. I don't know what you typed in. What'd you type in?
Chest hair.
What'd you type in? Ice Pirates.
This is the actual movie. Yeah.
Okay, so he Phil's got the movie pulled up, the still of the movie pulled up, and Robert Urich's got his shirt unbuttoned, and he has got it looks like a black raven of a chest hair. It literally looks like some sort of
or the bat symbol or
the
something.
bat symbol across his chest. Ron Perlman's excited about this water, and then Mary Crosby's like, "Yay, water!
Let's go swimming, everybody!"
Woof.
Pretty fantastic.
Woof, woof. Anyway, so that's the big goods and bads. Let's rate this on a scale of 1 horrible to 5 horribles. What's one horrible compared to 5 horribles? 5 horribles being the worst thing you can imagine.
Oh, man.
This is fun to me. I'm going to give you my rating for this is a 3 because I really did enjoy watching this. I didn't know what to expect because I'd never seen it.
I know the concepts were executed poorly, but, like, some of the concepts you guys talked about, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
I think there's some there. And so after this rating, I'm going to challenge you to something real quick.
But it's probably a 2.5 because I'm going to give it a half for the nostalgia of it. And it does sort of, like, once you kind of get into it, you're like, I can't take my eyes off of this.
Well, and compared to Star Wars, The Matrix, really good sci-fi, this is bad.
Oh,
bad.
Yeah.
Now, as a joke, it's still not very funny, but at least you could then go, okay, it's meant to be a spoof. But I don't know if that they entirely meant it to be a spoof.
Right.
Because there are some things they do on here that you're like, that if you meant to be a spoof, you wouldn't have done just that right then.
Right. And the thing is that, like, Phil, you mentioned earlier, like, does this movie stand up over time? I mean, for maybe what it is, I think it does. I don't think it's any worse now than it was then.
Right.
Okay.
It's the same.
I would like to do a watch along where we just rip it up, or maybe do some voiceovers on it. That would be really fun.
I'd love to do some mystery science on that.
I don't know how we do it though with a camera behind. We can figure it out. All right, here's my question.
All right,
we're going to recast this movie, and we're going to recast it in 1983, and so we're going to recast it with Harrison Ford as Robert Urich.
Yep.
We're going to recast, and you know what? I'm leaving Mary Crosby in it.
She's great.
I'm leaving her in there.
Yeah.
She better looking in this movie. Should I say that? Is that objectifying? I don't care at this point. She's a better looking lady than Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm leaving her in it. We can even leave Roscoe in there. I don't really care. But does it fix it with Harrison Ford and he's just come off of being Han Solo.
Right.
Now he's going to be in this movie. What does that do to he would never agree to it at that point because he was on to Indiana Jones and other things anyway.
Yeah. I do think that you get I don't know. I don't know if that fixes it or not. I really don't know that fixes it. I think that the plot is just too thin. And I think what fixes this movie is more budget, which then also takes away any profit that they made. Because I think that if you could have worked, if it looked better in some ways. I mean, like this thing was shot with one camera in a soundstage.
It seemed like it at times. It really did seem like it at times.
Yeah, with like terrible lighting.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Some really bad shots.
Yeah, it's The Room bad sometimes with that.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That is true. Kurt Russell. Let's see, Kurt Russell.
You know
what? Overboard. He would be perfect in this.
This would be a great Kurt Russell.
Because then you could play off of that Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
You could pull, you know what I'm saying?
Little Snake Plissken.
Yes. I mean, and so then it's like this whole other movie. Because Robert Urich, I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm trying to think of what to compare him to. He reminds me of like the Brady Bunch dad at times.
The fact that no one on this show that's listening right now can think of a single thing that Robert Urich has been in.
David in the live chat mentioned him being in a TV show called Vegas. I mean, that he's just unmemorable. Like he's very milquetoast.
He's not a leading man kind of thing. Like that's not a hard role to carry, honestly, in this movie.
Yeah.
And he doesn't carry it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's saying something that Ron Perlman is today is like the biggest actor that survived.
Well, Angelica Huston and him would probably be a very good comparison. Angelica Huston has done some big time stuff too.
Sure.
So, and the guy that played Sloth. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He's done a lot too. He's the Braun Strowman of that age. So
it's just that he's such a character.
Yeah, he's pointless.
Yeah.
He fakes being a monk in this one.
Right.
Well, very good. Radio people, we got about a minute left. We're done with the radio. Radio, bye. See you guys soon. I missed my marker. We'll see you. Love you. Let's do this. I want to make a song right now. And you can beatbox it, Phil.
Sure, why not?
Or you can pull up a beat on something on there. You may not have the ability to do that. But I've got to make a song for Ice Pirates. You know why? Because we made a song for Kroll. Danae Hughes did. And it's called Fire Mares. Because in Kroll, there's these wild horses that they have to get called Fire Mares. And it was a great song. And so we're going to make a song.
I'm super nervous.
I am
right
like
now.
a show. Right now, I am like a show mom at some dance competition, and you're gonna do it, or we're not stopping at Golden Corral on the way home. You understand me?
Yes, mother.
I have spent so much money on these outfits for this song for Ice Pirates. Coming to NBC this fall. Ice Pirates. I like it. Turn it up. Ice Pirates. Coming to your house. Gonna steal your ice. Gonna let it all hang out. Ice Pirates. Go hit it, Tom.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Tell them.
I feel like Run DMC needs to sort of like jump in here at some point.
Ice Pirates. What you gonna do when your dreams come true? Ice Pirates. We're coming to your house. We're gonna whack, whack. Hit it, Tom.
This is not my skill set.
Do it. This is not my skill set.
It's not.
I'm gonna hit you with the skillet.
It's not anybody's, Tom.
Not anybody's, Tom.
Yeah.
Turn my jams up one last time. Ice Pirates. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, man? When H2O dreams come true. Ice Pirates, girl. Come on. I love you, Ice Pirates. I love you. All right. That's good. Ice Pirates. Good job, guys.
I loved it.
I love it. If you'll send that to me later on, and I'll break it down, and I'll add some mean remix to that. Okay. It's going to be a line dance classic in all the country clubs around too.
In all the space.
Yeah, why not?
All the bodegas in space.
Right.
Space bodegas.
Right. In
all the
Smuggler's
hangouts.
Bay.
Yes. I'm just reading the live chat. Karina, and she's gonna Edie Williams. I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into here. We're gonna look.
She's the poor man's Carmen Electra, is what he's saying. Edie Williams.
Okay, I got Valley of Dolls. Okay, I'm with you. All right, I could see that. I could see this maybe. God. Okay, all right. We could recast her there. poor man's. That's saying a lot. The poor man's Carmen Electra.
I thought Carmen Electra was a poor man's Carmen Electra.
Oh, very good. Well, very good. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Want to make a remix to the remix of Ice Pirates?
No, I don't know that it's that popular.
I liked
at this point.
I thought it was fun.
Okay.
Because you know what? I just like doing stupid stuff. But I'm best at.
You definitely accomplished that.
I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at it. I do it. Anyway,
Yeah.
what else you got, Tom?
I don't know, man.
What have you been into lately? Tell us what you've been doing lately. Television shows, movies, books. Maybe your new rap album you want to talk about?
Yeah, my new rap album.
From the Ice Pirates remix.
Yeah, no.
Anything?
Yeah, no, I don't really, I'm kind of boring with that kind of stuff. Just writing and making that show. I'm working on a video project and some other stuff. So I don't know, just kind of chilling.
Dude, he's a creative. He doesn't veg out and just consume like you do.
No, I consume, but I also, make stuff.
You create
like
rap albums.
Well, I make a lot of music for the show and other people.
And you don't create the commercials for NBC, but you.
No, I do
them.
get those. Right, I find. Well, they send them to us because we have a good thing going with them. Yeah. So anyway, they're making a new Ice Pirates TV show. You guys know about that?
Yeah, no.
They are. Jaleel White is going to play Jason, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's going to be great. It's like a space This Is Us, which is really weird.
Oh, well, that sounds
they've re-changed it up. The NBC likes that format.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a space This Is Us, really. What it is.
Sounds like a good one to me. I could get behind that for sure.
People are going to love it. People are going to be crying at the end of every episode.
I think that's probably true.
Probably crying blood. Anyway, Bill, what have you been into? Like last thing.
We watched The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Finally. With our daughter, and she loved it.
Yeah.
She's in love with Baby Jack Jack.
Yeah, Baby Jack Jack.
Yeah. And so, man, that is one of the best. I know this sounds maybe silly to say because it's a Pixar movie, but it is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
You think so?
Yeah, it's really, really good. I love the concepts in the movies and in both of them, and the cast is really, really good. So I like that this one was like featuring Elastigirl as like the main protagonist of the film, and I thought her powers were like really good, like really interesting. She's almost like a Spider-Man in some ways. So.
I finally saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I
watched that too.
Oh, it's so good. You've not seen this?
No spoilers. I know. Miles Morales is my favorite. Is my favorite comic book character of all time.
And you've not seen it?
Yeah, I need to watch
ridiculous.
it. Yeah.
You just need to hit pause on life for about 2 hours and watch that.
Dude, I'm too busy.
It's good. Did you think it was good?
It was good. I hate that animation style.
Oh, really?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but
I appreciate that you said that. Like seriously, like I understand.
Yeah, it's not my thing, and I mean, like I don't like vector graphics in general, and I also don't like 24 frames or 12 frames a second.
Yeah.
I feel like it gives it a herky jerky look, and I realize that they're trying to sort of like let it stand out from other things. But I feel like that story itself is strong enough. It was well written. The characters are compelling. They got great actors to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Why ruin it by basically creating a movie that is visually distracting? Literally to a huge audience of people that are used to seeing 24 frames a second. And I know this is getting a little nerdy on that and technical.
Fine here, yeah.
But I mean,
I didn't realize that. Is the whole film 12?
I think that the whole film is 12.
Wow. Okay.
Or there's
interesting.
And maybe it's not, but I mean, like it seems like the vast majority of it is 12.
So like for listeners that maybe don't understand frames per second, like if you have that flip book, like you drew pictures in a flip book and you flip the pages real fast or whatever, and like all the characters on the page seem to be kind of stuttering. You kind of get that effect as you're watching it.
A typical Hollywood film of really any kind is filmed at 24 frames a second. It gives the most naturalistic look. It basically mimics what the human eye sees. So there's a little bit of motion blur that you get. With 12 frames a second, what you get is sort of like half of that. So imagine if you blinked in between, like very rapidly,
that fast, yeah.
It's a little bit of a strobe effect that happens on screen, and it works. I mean, it works, and you get used to it. But I guess the other comparison too is that like this movie that we just talked about, Ice Pirates, looks like it was filmed in about 60 frames a second, which is like more like modern video, and so what you're seeing is like hyper clear. terrible, like
It looks too real.
it looks too realistic.
Yeah.
You don't get any atmosphere with that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, like, a lot of
What was Star Wars filmed in?
24, 100%. Yeah. Any modern movie that has any budget whatsoever that's filmed on film is usually filmed at 24 frames a second.
Okay.
Even those ones that are digital now, they used to actually do NTSC format is actually 30. So if you go out right now and you buy, like, say, a camcorder, like a Sony Handycam, it's going to probably be set up at 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
Because that's the standard thing that most televisions can see. If you spend a little extra money, it'll probably have a cinema style or something like that where it's mimicking a 24 frames per second. But that's where you get that sort of natural motion where it looks like a film. Anything other than that, and you know, a lot of places tout this 60 frames per second. Well, that's like hyper realistic. You want to see baseball in 60 frames a second. You want to feel like you're there. If you want that sort of like to see the sweat on the brow and that kind of thing, you want it as many frames a second as you can get. But you start taking that down to 24, and that's what you're used to seeing on movies. If you go lower than that, you're going to start seeing things that it feels like it's skipping or it's jerky, and that's how Spider-Verse was made intentionally.
Yeah.
Right.
To set it
They
apart.
wanted it as for part of the feel. So again, I don't like vector graphics, which is just the animation style that they used, and then they filmed it at a 24 frame or a 12 frame rate, which was distracting to me.
Interesting. I've never had someone explain the style of, especially the FPS of how they filmed that movie before. I've just seen the trailers, and I've yet to see the film, which I'm going to rectify that soon. But yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that.
Cool.
The story, I thought was really, really good in that.
I can't wait.
Great story.
And they're
funny.
They're going to make other films. Unfortunately, they'll probably all be in 12 as well. But
It's all right.
Well, very
I will
good.
still watch it.
Tom, come back anytime you want.
Will do.
Phil, just keep coming back every week because this doesn't work without Phil. It doesn't. Even my Ice Pirates remix doesn't work without Phil.
it's fun, man. I like it. I like it even when I haven't seen the movie.
Okay. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Reach for the stars, follow your dreams, and remember, just because it's from Hollywood doesn't mean it isn't horrible. Have a great day, night, overnight, wherever you're at. The Waffle House. Maybe you're in a booth at the Waffle House. Maybe you are in a movie theater waiting on a movie.
It's the episode that never ends because Jack.
Have a great day. And remember, you're the best. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Not even those idiots you're in a room with right now. Okay? Don't even let them tell you you're not the best. Because you're the best. Got it?
No, Jack. You're the best.
No, you guys.
No.
You two guys in the
No,
room.
no.
You two in the room with me are the best. See you guys. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks. The Horror Movie Podcast is heard weekly on great stations like 88.1 KZ88, South Central Missouri's Public Radio, 104.1 Caps Media in Ventura, California, 103.5 WADR Janesville, Wisconsin, and 105.5 KFGM Missoula, Montana, from Missouri to Missoula. The Horror Movie Podcast is available for download on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, and at thehorriblemoviepodcast.com.